In this first week of a post-Roe world, we've certainly seen some hostile reactions from the other side. We unpack them in this week's Speak Out segment. More pregnancy centers have been vandalized in Virginia, Colorado, and elsewhere. Dozens of companies are pledging to pay for their female employees to travel out of state to have abortions. There were horrific displays of pro-abortion extremism at the Supreme Court, and troves of misinformation are being propagated by the mainstream media. For this week's Speak Out segment, I'm joined by longtime pro-life leader and ally, Alison Centofante of Centofante Strategist. Alison, we're seeing a lot of visceral reactions from pro-abortion people, men and women, now that Roe versus Wade is no more. What have you been seeing?
Thanks, Prudence, and thanks so much for covering this, because mainstream media is not covering PRCs being vandalized and the violence that has continued after this decision. And it's just striking to me. Violence begets violence. That's what's happening right now. The left is outraged, but they just saw the biggest loss that they've seen in decades, the greatest win for the pro-life movement in decades. And so the amount of lies that are out there, the amount of angry people on the pro-abortion side is massive.
Yeah, I agree. And let's unpack them. You just recently gave birth to your second daughter, Alison. What's your reaction to this pregnant woman who labeled the child in her belly not yet human?
I saw that. And I've been at the Supreme Court. You have as well on days like this. And the crazies come out of the troves. You know, this woman standing there visibly pregnant with this message on her stomach. I would ask her, if I was able to, is, well, what is it then? Is it a squash? Is it a CD player? Is it a beaver? What is it? Because I saw another photo where she's holding a toddler. It looked like it was hers. She knows what happens. We all know. Science is clear about life in the womb. She is lying to herself, and I think she's lying to the world. She knows that that's a human being. And people are so bought into this propaganda, this narrative from the left that we can't acknowledge life in the womb until it's, I guess, born. But I would ask her, when is it a human life? When does life begin? And try and engage with her. But I think she was just doing that for clickbait, for just to further the pro-abortion narrative that she clearly and oddly supports.
Right. And let's talk about social media for a minute. This morning, I was scrolling on my phone and saw that a beautiful graphic that simply states abortion is never medically necessary was censored and labeled sensitive content. Is it just me, Alison, or is this complete nonsense?
It's wild. It's absolute nonsense. We always seek to save both lives. Medical doctors have been very clear on this. I've looked into this deeply. Obviously, as a woman and as a mom of two, I want to know everything that could happen during pregnancy, right? And so many women are with me in that. What happens if my life is at risk? What happens if they need to separate me from the baby? I really don't ever want to be in a situation where, you know, the doctors are looking at me saying, whose life do you want to save? Or asking that of my husband. Thankfully, that is not the case. And I have been affirmed many times over by wonderful OBGYNs that any doctor worth their salt will seek to save them both. And if for any reason a mom needs to be separated from her baby during pregnancy, preeclampsia, high blood pressure, something happens, what we would all say needs to be done is early delivery via C-section or inducing labor in order to separate me quickly from the child and seek to save both of our lives. An abortion in that situation would actually take longer, Prudence, be more violent for the child, and have more health risks for me as a mom. And so there is always a life-affirming solution here. And I just want to affirm any woman or man watching that you don't have to make that decision. Both lives are equal, and any doctor worth their salt will try and protect and save them both.
Thank you so much for explaining that. And finally, Alison, want to get your quick reaction to corporations and Hollywood personalities. What do you think about the way they're responding to all of this and the way that that's being pushed out by the media?
Yeah, these lies they're raging like wildfires online. And so I would just challenge people to question what they're seeing and to go into this with a healthy dose of cynicism, that if your favorite influencer or celebrity is sharing something that seems maybe a little too outlandish, it might actually be absolutely false. And so to go online, I love the website After Roe. After Roe shows every state's laws. So go and find out what's real, what's happening in each state, and have a healthy dose of cynicism, because there are a lot of lies out there being spread. by people with very big platforms.
Thank you so much for what you've done, Alison, to get us to this moment in the pro-life movement. Alison Centofante of Centofante Strategies. God bless you.
Thanks, Prudence.